So good day, everyone. Welcome to the press conference with our head coach, Dino Toppmöller. 2 days before the next Bundesliga away game, we are going to FC Augsburg. Important 3 points in the Bundesliga. And Dino, our full focus is now on that. In the crunch time, as you said yesterday, what do you expect on Sunday? How are we approaching this game?
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's about focusing as quickly as possible on the Bundesliga. We have created a very good starting position for ourselves. We have won 3 out of the last 4 games in the Bundesliga. And with this confidence and self-assurance, we are, of course, going to Augsburg on Sunday. We also know that Augsburg has had really great runs this calendar year in terms of points, but also in terms of defending, as they have conceded very few goals. It is a very compact team. They are very good in duels, have good processes going forward, and are very robust up front with their strikers, Asende or Tietz. Normally, we expect one of them to play with good footballers behind them. Therefore, it will be an exciting challenge. We are aware of the importance of this game and will approach it accordingly.
Dino, thank you for the initial statement. Please direct your questions to our head coach. Christopher Michel will start, followed by Ulrike Sickenberger.
Yes. Hello, Dino. Person Needle. What is the current situation? Mario Götze, also Kawasando, who was limping quite a bit yesterday and seemed injured. Can you provide an update on that, about the guys?
Yes, with Mario, the examinations are still ongoing. We have to wait and see. So the R will definitely not be available for the game in Augsburg. Maybe not even the following week. We just have to see what the results are. He was in the MRI. And now I'm going again to the doctor to check in. Otherwise, the other guys, according to the information I have come through well. And they are all ready for the game. Then on Sunday.
Is there a follow-up question? Yes, Pepe, please. Because there was a rumor that Kao would be out long-term.
Okay.
So that's not true then?
Well, honestly, I haven't seen all the players today either. We always have 2 groups, and I was outside on the field with 1 group. And all other information, as I said, I'm going to the doctor again now, and I'll ask there again. But I don't have that information yet.
Ulrike, please.
Yes, somehow. I had to gather myself first because I was actually prepared for a different question. How? How do you survive in quotation marks a night after such a game? Is it terrible, nerve-wracking? Do you go through the game again? Can you even sleep? And if so, how long?
Yes, of course none of us slept well. That's clear. Rasmus didn't sleep at all. He told me that. Hugo, I saw him too. He didn't either. Yes, it's always tough. Because we had set so much for ourselves, because we also felt that it would have been doable, that we were in a good position and that we then didn't make it. That's obviously tough. But even then, as I said, it's important to shake off the disappointment from yesterday, which we still carry with us today, and at the latest by tomorrow when we arrive, to refocus on what we can control. Yesterday is already history now. And it's not just with Eintracht Frankfurt in recent years. It has been the case that sometimes the bitter moments, or perhaps in quotation marks, the bitterest moment for you personally is the starting point for the greatest success. That was the case. With the cup final we won back then, having lost the final before, eliminated in the Europa League semi-final against Chelsea, and then 2 or 3 years later we won it. And exactly like that, we should approach it with this mindset. We need to put this behind us now. We no longer have it in our hands. We can't change it anymore. But what we can change is the approach to the things that lie ahead of us. And we approach them with full positivity, with great enthusiasm, and simply with good energy, because it might be that in the coming weeks we have something to celebrate. We are on the way to playing the best Bundesliga season in the club's history, and that is incentive enough.
Ingo Dustewitz, please.
Dino, but still the question, how do you build such a team? I mean, you have to do it anyway. You are the locomotive that has to lead the way. How do you do that? Do you get into their heads? Do you give a collective speech? How should one imagine that?
The first starting signal was my speech yesterday right after the game in the locker room. I spoke to the guys for a few minutes, then today I left them alone. As I said, I simply didn't see everyone. I was with the guys I was outside with on the field. They had a very good training session. There was a good energy among the guys again. I had many conversations with those who might be a bit behind at the moment, who were accordingly on the field today. And that was also the case for me. Even in these conversations, it was already about Augsburg, about the coming weeks. And tomorrow I will certainly give another speech in front of the assembled group. But today I deliberately left the entire group alone for now because, as I said, I already spoke yesterday evening and will do so again tomorrow.
Daniel Schmidt, please.
Once again, the personnel question, how is Kevin doing for the weekend? And the second one afterwards, yesterday, Robin Koch said quite clearly, we want to be in the Champions League now because we want to experience such evenings again. Would anything other than the Champions League be a failure to meet the goal for the last 5 games now?
Well, if he wants to experience such evenings, then we need to get into the Europa League again. Yes, in the end, I believe we have worked ourselves into a great situation. And it's not about declaring a season goal in the final stretch. I think some things don't need to be emphasized. They are self-explanatory. For us, it's about playing a good game on Sunday, getting 3 points to take the next step and then take the next step after that. The goal was simply in the season, just like before, as we have always publicly stated, we want to play internationally again. So always on a good path, and then we'll see what kind of competition it will be. With Trapo, it's like this. He has started light training again this week and participated in training on Wednesday, as you have seen. We have a final training session tomorrow where I will talk to him again, and then we need to see if he is already an option for the game, or if we say, okay, we might go for a full training week that we still have for Leipzig. I will have a conversation with him tomorrow, and then we will decide how to proceed.
Roland Palmer, then Christopher Michel.
You said we are on the verge or are about to play the best season, Bundesliga season. What do you base that on? What point total, for example? And you know yourself, when you have 60 points, you play in the Champions League. If you have 58, I believe, in the last 100 years, you've been there 97 times, approximately. What do you base that on?
I looked up a few statistics. To have them all in mind now, I would need to open my phone. He doesn't want to do that for me now. I believe the maximum number of wins for Eintracht Frankfurt was 16. We are now at 15, which means we have 5 more games to break this record. The best point total, I believe, was 60. And yes, these goals are important for us. We want to try, logically, already on Sunday to set the number of wins to 16. We also know that it's a good challenge to play and win there in Augsburg, especially when you see that they have been very, very stable in the last weeks and months. I think they've only lost 1 game, which was at home against Bayern. Otherwise, they've won a lot, achieved many surprises, like the away win in Dortmund. But we feel ready and also have a real desire to perform well and play a good game there 3 days after the Europa League match.
Dino, back to Mario again. I mean, his absence affects you. You could clearly notice that yesterday. In a 4-2-3-1 formation, he has already become a very central figure as a playmaker. Is his absence perhaps a moment where you might consider a system change again? How do you plan to replace him?
Yes, very, very, very interesting question. Good question. We will, of course, discuss this again with the coaching team right away, because we, so far, logically not yet, at least we in the coaching team haven't focused much on Augsburg because the full focus was on Tottenham. And that, of course, starts now. We will sit down with the analysis team shortly and then talk about the game against Augsburg. But that is absolutely a consideration, yes. Now, we also have Igor, Eli, and Michel Batshuayi back. With EKI, all the strikers are back on board. That wasn't the case a few weeks ago. Igor was still injured then, Ellie was still injured. That was also the reason to move away from the two-striker formation. And now, with Mario out as the central player in the number 10 position and all strikers fit again, it is certainly a consideration to return to a system with two strikers. We need to make not just a decision for this game, but perhaps also one, because we now have regular training weeks again that we say, okay, we commit to this system and just play it through to the end. Because I believe that what has really benefited us in the past few weeks is that we stayed in the same system, that us processes were clear, that everyone knew exactly 100% in their position. What is also important there, both offensively and defensively. And now we simply have to make a fundamental decision. Of course, there are always match-specific adjustments, but I do believe that in the coming weeks we will have the opportunity to switch to a two-striker formation again.
Ulrike Sieger.
Something fundamental. You were eliminated yesterday as the last German team. Do you see any pattern or explanation for why all three German teams were knocked out so early, relatively early?
Yes, I don't think I see a pattern behind it. When you see how Bayern played in the two games, for example, against Inter, then I don't know if the better team advanced. They had many chances. Dortmund played an incredibly good game at home now against Barcelona. They kind of messed up in the first leg with that game. We were also on par with the opponent. It could have swung the other way, but the pendulum just didn't. I don't think it's about fundamental issues. Last year, BVB was in the Champions League final. Now we're looking to be more active in these competitions next year and to advance further. But I'm relatively confident about that.
Christopher Michel.
Dino, now it's still the case. That was yesterday. Somehow it's a turning point when you are eliminated from such a competition. And it was, of course, also a stage for some, like Hugo Ekitike, who used it very well for himself. And he just seemed very frustrated yesterday. There are simply all these rumors surrounding him and so on. Are you a little worried that he will... Or do you believe you can simply keep him with motivation and everything so that he continues to have this impact on your game?
Yes, I do believe that I, together with the team and my coaching staff, can manage that, not just me, Pien, but we, so that everyone stays on track. I mean, with all due respect to the task on Thursday, even with the disappointment that is naturally there, that's just part of sports, part of your success. And it will personally, and just like everyone of us, it will simply make us stronger as we simply learn from such moments. The path to success is always paved with many defeats, with much pain, with many disappointments. And it's just about continuing, moving forward, and then building on that and growing from it. And it's the same for him. Some may need an extra day to process these things or not. We, as the coaching team, of course, have to immediately switch gears and lead with positive examples. We have done that and we are doing that. And then we will get the guys back on track tomorrow so that we can play a good game on Sunday. And in the end, it's also about his personal goals, about the goals for us as a team. And he, just like everyone else, is responsible for doing everything to achieve that so that we continue marching in the right direction.
Ingo Dostowitz.
Do you also have this remaining schedule in mind, which is a bit unpleasant now? So you don't really like playing in Augsburg, then Mainz and Freiburg away, who are also up there, Leipzig at home, or do you stick to the approach of taking it game by game since we can't change it anyway?
No. So it really is that we just approach each one individually. Starting today, we are completely focused on the game in Augsburg. We know that it's always possible, no matter the opponent, to get 3 points. And that's how we approach it. And then the games after that, whether it's at home against Leipzig, we already know the schedule. then in Mainz, Pauli, and then again in Freiburg. But I believe if we approach things the same way we've done throughout the entire season, then we can certainly lay a foundation where it doesn't matter who the opponent is in the end, but rather it's always about the next task, and that is now Augsburg.
Christopher Michel.
I would like to delve into this task against Augsburg in more detail. Has he often been like a grey mouse? When you look at the squad now, there are really good players included. And with Claude Maurice, is he a player where you come up with something special to neutralize him? Or who are, for you, the 3 or 4 key players of Augsburg that you particularly need to watch out for?
I think it starts at the back, of course, with Dahmen, who is having a really good season since he's been back in goal. He's gone a very long time without conceding a goal. And that's no coincidence because he's a good goalkeeper and he also has a strong defense in front of him. I believe that with Ruveliov, they also have an absolute defensive leader who holds the team together at the back and consistently provides momentum going forward. Then you have diligent players in the defensive midfield position. Claude Maurice is, of course, a player you always have to keep an eye on because he stands for special moments. He has very good movements, is a very good footballer and can create opportunities. Then up front, they have a player like Essen.de who is very, very physically robust, can finish himself, but also acts as a target man. I do believe that these are the key players. But then you have Wolf, someone we got to know here, I believe. Someone who brings that positive craziness onto the field. And strength in duels, a good footballer. So you already have a good mix. And as you rightly said, I also see that Augsburg's squad does offers more than, in your words, being a grey mouse. They really have some interesting players. Also, Mats Hiemer is a very interesting defender. So they do have a lot of quality in their ranks.
All right. I see no more questions. Then I thank you all. Wish you a nice day. Dino, thank you very much. All the best for Sunday. Eintracht Frankfurt visits FC Augsburg. Around 3,000 Eintracht fans will accompany us to Augsburg in the Fugger city on Easter Sunday. The referee for the match will be Florian Bartstübner. The game will be broadcast live on DAZN and with my colleagues, audio commentary on Eintracht FM. To you, and of course to everyone watching us, happy Easter in advance, and here's to 3 points for our Eintracht on Easter Sunday. Thank you.